Yarona FM. Always sounding good. Live the music.
It's 11:32 on Wired, right here on Yarona FM, where we definitely live the music. And today on the line, I have with me Boniswa Sidwaba, who is the head of programs and market insights, Sub-Saharan Africa at TikTok. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lerato. Thanks so much. Good morning.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us. Now, for somebody who lives under a rock, I think we all know what TikTok is, but for somebody who doesn't know what TikTok is, what would you explain to them as TikTok?
Thanks, Lerato. Great way to start the conversation. So TikTok is an entertainment platform. We actually have done some work to set ourselves apart from social media platforms because we're not a social media platform. We're a content first and an entertainment platform. And it's really a place where creativity and authenticity are celebrated. Creators come to TikTok to start creating content. A lot of creators launch their careers on TikTok first. TikTok, for example, it's a place where sport lovers can unite as well. So if you're a sports lover, we have a popular hashtag called Sports on TikTok, where you can basically catch up on various sporting events, whether they're local or global. So it's really a place for content discovery. It's an entertainment platform, and it's where creativity and authenticity are celebrated.
You know, this is the first time I actually get to see TikTok in that light. We normally, like you say, we tend to say it's a social media platform, but the fact that you explained it that way just brings a whole new light to it, right? Now, how is it important for, let's say, a Botswana-based content creator on TikTok to understand the platform's algorithm and trends to sort of try and maximize their reach? Like you said earlier, that for some, this is where they kind of start off their career.
Mm-hmm. So just going back to the point on us being an entertainment platform versus a social media platform, the reason for that is because the way that your content discovered is not based on a social graph. So success on the platform is not determined by the number of followers you have, but actually rather by the value of your content. And this is really how a lot of creators have shared their success cases. They've shared that they created content on TikTok, and there was one particular video that, made them become popular overnight. That's really the power of the platform. So for creators that are trying to, become content creators, just keep that in mind. Just be authentic in the way that you're creating your content. You don't have to worry about gaining a following first. Part of the reason for that is because of the beauty of the For You page as well. So the For You page, so if you have a TikTok account and I have a TikTok account, our viewing experiences are going to be completely different. The reason for this is because the recommendations on the For You page are based on things such as user interaction. So, for example, how much time you spend watching a video, do you like the video, do you share the video, etc. So because of that, it's possible for anyone's video to end up on your For You page. So that's the second tip that I would give to content creators. And then finally, just ensure that you are keeping up to date with what is trending on the platform. So what are the latest trending sounds when you are on the For You page? What are the trending hashtags you're seeing pop up? Remember to include those because that makes your content TikTok first, and it allows you to be part of this community that is inspiring creativity and bringing joy to millions of users around the globe.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you say, I could look at probably what sound is popular or what other things, but are there any other strategies maybe that I could be able to employ to effectively engage with a set audience or a specific audience that I would really like to attract and maybe build my loyal following?
Yeah, I think that boils down to the work of a content creator. So as a content creator, it's very important to first ask yourself, number one, who am I talking to, or who am I trying to talk to? Who am I trying to create content for? So that would be the first thing. Identify your target audience. Now, specifically to TikTok, how you can do this is, so for example, if you're a mom influencer and you go to TikTok and you use the word mom, the hashtag moms of TikTok is definitely going to come up. So then I would, as a mom creator, I would then watch the content that is being created under there, get some tips from there, see how other creators are using that hashtag, and then in turn include that hashtag. So that would be one thing, which goes back to the hashtags, but the hashtags are important because that is how communities form themselves on TikTok. So that's why we have hashtags like book talk, film talk, pod talk, moms of TikTok, sports on TikTok. Those are literally people that are creating communities. So when people use those hashtags, they know that, okay, this is who I'm talking to, or this is the type of content that I'm trying to create. So first one is target audience. Then the second one is how often do you want to speak to your target audience, which then goes to the cadence of your content. So how often am I posting? And then that leads you to a content strategy. So then you know, this is my target audience. This is how often I speak to this target audience, and this is how I speak to them. The how I speak to them is thinking about, what does my content look like? Does my content include filters? Am I the type of creator that, for example, decides that I don't want to show myself visibly, and so I'm going to use a filter to start creating an identity? So that would be one tip, for example. Or you can think about wanting to offer content that is longer than 60 seconds. So now people are able to create content up to 10 minutes on TikTok. So then that then goes into the type of format you use to create your content. So I think those are the main tips. Who are you talking to? What is your content strategy? So how often are you creating content? And then how are you creating that content? How are you communicating? What is the look and feel of your content? And then ensuring that you're including hashtags, trending sounds, and filters that are popular on TikTok.
We're talking to Head of Programs and Market Insights Sub-Saharan Africa at TikTok, Boniswa Sidwaba. And if you have any questions, +267 391 1066 is the number to WhatsApp. Now, Boniswa, I wanted to know, are there any specific cultural nuances maybe or local trends, especially in Botswana, that content creators should be aware of when creating content for TikTok?
Yeah. So, I mean, these trends definitely evolve, due to how fast the platform evolves. And that's really by virtue of the fact that people are creating content on TikTok, by the minute, daily. But we do have some hashtags that are evergreen hashtags that are kind of long-standing hashtags. So in preparation for this discussion, we did pull some data just to understand in Sub-Saharan Africa, what would the major differences be between, for example, Botswana and Namibia? There were actually a lot more similarities than there were differences. But I would say, for example, what would set South Africa and Botswana apart from, what would set Botswana and South Africa apart is that in Botswana, categories like comedy, beauty, lip sync, family types of content, food types of content are the top consumed and created content. In South Africa, it's similar. However, we have animal content as a top category as well. So that would be like outdoor wildlife content. And then we also have trending sounds, which wasn't necessarily prevalent, or it wasn't on the list for Botswana. So that would be a distinct difference between Botswana and South Africa. And then when we look at Botswana, South Africa, and say Nigeria, in Nigeria we see that they enjoy a lot more entertainment leaning content. So for example, their top categories there are also trending sounds, entertainment, celebrity and TV works, comedy, and not so much beauty, lip sync, etc.
One thing that I would like to know is then how can content creators leverage TikTok's features such as maybe challenges, duets and effects to enhance the quality and appeal of their videos? Now that we kind of understand that, okay, there are certain things that maybe trend more in Botswana as opposed to South Africa, and there's a difference between what the audience is then taking into consideration, like in Nigeria, as you've mentioned. Yeah,
so sorry to cut you short there.
No problem.
All right, so I think the important thing to kind of plug here is that TikTok is part of the democratization of content creation, because if we think about content creation 10 to 15 years ago, there were definitely a lot more barriers to becoming a content creator. So as a content creator, you have to think about, okay, do I have a fancy camera? Do I have lights? Do I have someone who's going to shoot the content for me? With a platform like TikTok, you can do all of that in TikTok. So you can use TikTok to shoot your content. You can then use the tools on the app to edit your content as well. And then if you want to make sure that you are making your content, if you want to make sure that it's kind of like edited nicely, if you want to make sure that it's got interesting effects, that's where you can then use effects like, for example, green screen. So if you want to create a skit about what it's like to travel in Paris without actually going to Paris, you can actually use the green screen effect, take a picture of the Eiffel Tower and many other places or iconic tourist destinations in Paris, and then add those to your video to say, you know, these would be my top 10 places to visit in Paris. So that's an example of how you can make use of the editing features. In terms of the hashtags, just going back to the very first point, at the start of our discussion, we were talking about communities and how you start identifying people that might like the same kind of content as you. Definitely gravitate towards using hashtags like, for example, what to watch. So if you are a movie enthusiast and you want to create movie reviews, use the hashtag what to watch. If you're a sports creator, use the hashtag African football or sports on TikTok. If you're a book lover, use the hashtag book talk to start then, you know, signposting that that's the type of content that you're creating. And then I think in terms of duetting is a great way to collaborate with other creators. In the near future, we're going to be launching more products that are going to make collaboration a lot easier for content creators on TikTok. And it's all part of our mission to ensure that we continue to inspire creativity and bring joy.
Speaking of, inspiring creativity and bringing joy, I may be sitting here and enjoying making content and possibly trying to push the envelope and maybe even, trying to come to the edge, but not really. Are there any potential legal or ethical considerations that I need to keep in mind when producing content, especially for TikTok?
Yes, so if you're a new content creator on TikTok and it's the first time that you're downloading TikTok and opening your profile, my top tip for every single content creator is to first go to our community guidelines, which you can find in our safety center. Our community guidelines have also recently been refreshed. So this is really kind of like the go-to place for creators to go to understand how they need to create content, how they need to collaborate with other creators, and really just how they need to behave in this global community of creators as well as viewers. So the community guidelines are really an instrumental and key place to go to understand exactly how you should behave as a user as well as a creator on the platform. I think another thing is to make use of our safety tools and our safety features. So, for example, if you are encountering comments that are unfavorable, you can filter, you can add specific terms that will be blocked out of your comments. You can also completely mute your comments if you'd like to do that. You can, if you see an unfavorable video on the For You page, all you need to do is long press that video. So just hold your thumb down or one of your fingers down, and a pop-up will come up, and you'll be able to report that content. And you can also follow up on what has happened. So there's a report that's generated. So really, just to make sure that we're law-abiding content creators and users of the platform, definitely visit the community guidelines, read those, and go to our safety center. We've got a massive array of tools that help us be part of this global community.
We've got like 2 minutes left, and somebody here was asking about why TikTok is maybe not monetizing content in Botswana, and also in attaching a question to that is, are there even any monetization options available for Botswana-based content creators on this platform, and how they can effectively maybe monetize their content?
Yes, so I would definitely suggest that creators in Botswana are keeping an eye out on the brands that are on TikTok that are either global brands or local brands, because brand collaborations can happen either way. So a creator could reach out to a brand, to show what their content looks like. The brand could do the same. The brand could reach out to the creator as well. So that's definitely an area or an opportunity for monetization for creators in Botswana. We also have a feature called Work with Artists, which recently launched in Botswana as well. Their creators have the opportunity to work with artists. So if an artist uploads a new song on TikTok, or if a new song becomes available on TikTok, they would like to work with creators who, create a specific type of content or have a specific following, and then those creators create content using those sounds. So the tools may not be as much as they are available in other markets, but there are some ways to monetize your content. And monetization is an ongoing process. It's an area of the business that will continue to evolve over time. So that's definitely something that the business is keeping as a priority for content creators.
I think lastly, just to wrap things up, especially with what you've just said, then how do I measure the success of my content? What are some of the key metrics that I should maybe focus on to track my growth and engagement if I'm trying to make sure that, okay, I'm using the platform in a way that I'm able to, like you said, use the ways in which I can be able to monetize, but also make sure that I'm a growing brand. That way, when that said artist, for example, looks towards coming to work with me, the numbers really are there, and there's such a weight that they can be able to say, you know what, I'm picking this content creator.
Okay, great. So we have the TikTok product has analytical tools. So there is a tool. So if you're on your profile, you will see 3 dots at the top of your profile. When you click on those, you can click on, it's called Creator Tools. Creator Insights have now become available, where you can essentially see how your content is performing. And some of the key metrics that are included in the Creator Insights are metrics such as video views, so the total number of views that your video has received over a period of time, profile views, likes, comments, as well as shares. Those are some metrics that you can look at over time just to gain an understanding of how your content is performing. The other thing that I do want to say is give it time. Give it some time. Use those metrics to learn versus using them to make decisions. So I think what I'm trying to say is give it time, understand how people are responding to your content. So if you're a new creator and say, for instance, you post 3 videos, don't be discouraged by the views, for example, if they're not as high as you want them to be at that time. Just use those indicators as learnings for how you can modify your content over time or adjust your content over time. So to re-emphasize, metrics such as video views, profile visits, likes, as well as shares are helpful. And then, of course, do make sure to use the Creator Insights tool in the Creator Tools part of the app.
Thank you so much, Boniswa, for coming through and really talking to us about how we're able to really expand as content creators on TikTok. Thank you so much, and please have yourself a fantastic one.
Thank you, Lerato. Thank you for having me.
I really hope we can have a conversation again and you'll be able to come through, maybe even live in studio. You know?
I'd love that. I would love that. I've just come back from Botswana, but I would love to go back.
Please, when you come back, do hit us up so that we can invite you through.
Will do. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
That was Head of Programs and Market Insights Sub-Saharan Africa at TikTok, Boniswa Sidwaba, talking to us about how we can really leverage on TikTok.
Johnny J Mecca, the hottest, the number all day on 104.9 FM, Yarona FM.